this year, my word's depth. And that's not typical. I'm usually like an action word, my whole personality, and the word was depth. And I was like, whoa. And because I don't like superficial, I don't like superficial conversations, transactions, people treating people that way in business or life. And I said, we have got to have more depth. And I just saw a marketing trend for 2024 is more long form content instead of the short, which I want to go do a video on this because I'm so excited because two reasons. One, we're going to get more depth and quality. Two, the people that really listen want it. And number three, focus is the number one commodity. We are losing the ability to focus. If I coach anything, I'm always coaching about focus. And just, I mean, look, we got it so our brains only attend to 6 seconds now. That's content. And I said to someone, I need you to understand how impactful this is. When I worked in the hospital with brain injured patients, my goal was to get someone with a brain injury to attend, Scott, for 30 seconds. We can't even get our country to attend to things for more than 6 seconds. I thought, we have got to change this. So with this trend, I believe, like everything, the pendulum swings one way and it's got to come back. I believe as much as things get chaotic and we don't know what the year holds, people want more. I think people are getting tired of transactions and they want more depth and quality.
Well, I am so anti-transaction. I talked to people about this. I literally had this conversation about 10 minutes before I walked in and set record on this interview. I was talking to a young business owner who does work for us, and him and his wife have cleaned our building, and they do my house, and they're just amazing humans. And we were talking about relationships and transactions, and I said, listen, be careful not to grow just to grow, because
Right.
I've done that in my career and I've done that in my life. And then you feel empty when you accomplish something because you're not actually identifying what this career, this business can do for your family or who you love or God, whatever you want to build
Right.
towards, but it should be priority, not priorities. And, so we started talking about that, and it started about depth. And I said, listen, just remember, who are the people you love working with? That's the depth. Every transaction you have, that's what you say, hey, I'm not going to be able to continue next year.
Mm-hmm.
And you move
Mm-hmm.
away from that because that's drawing away from us. And,
Oh, I love this. And
yeah,
you know what this made me think of? In sports, everyone wants to know what's the depth of your bench. Think about it. And you're talking about who you want to walk with, who you want to work with. You're saying, like, let's create depth here because that's depth of the bench. That's depth. That means you have depth around you. So no matter what happens, someone goes down, you got someone that's going to pick it right back up. You have depth in your world. And man, that just fits. If you want longevity in life, have community and have depth around you.
Yeah, and on the bench, how important, like culture, I think, to your point about the inability to focus, culture on the bench is really difficult because think about when people get together, how many of them have their phones out in their face, right? If they're
Mm-hmm.
not even able to concentrate on the other humans across from them, they don't know their families, they don't know their lives. The teams that will build, that will be great, will be the teams that build culture.
Yep.
I'm a big Duke basketball fan, and I love Coach K and I love what he stands for. And Coach Shire's doing a great job over there.
Yeah.
But they have the brotherhood. And that's how they talk about this. And they come back and they watch each other in the playoffs when they make it the NBAs, and they come in the NBA, they come back to
Yeah.
Duke and they all sit together. Like there's a culture of, and I'm sure not everybody fits the culture perfectly, but I love that mentality.
Yeah.
How do you see that in sports today?
It's one of the examples that comes together is I'm here in Scottsdale, Arizona, and the Diamondbacks made it to the World Series. And one of the things I got interviewed on the news for them, and they kept talking about team chemistry, and they kept saying, "Dar, everyone keeps talking about the chemistry of this team. Does this really play a part?" And I said, 1000% it plays a part. We could go back. I study patterns of greatness. And if you go back and you study the patterns, one of the things is depth and chemistry, connection, that there's a brotherhood, all of that is literally proven in science now, because if you look at what bonds people, when there was a team, and I think it was the Cleveland Indians when they played the Cubs, but when there was a rain delay, and they during the World Series, and they had to go back in the locker room, and instead of people getting on their phones, they all were connected. And so when they came back out, they were better. They played better, because a rain delay could take you out of your flow, but they came back just as locked in because they didn't just all go to their phones. And I see that a lot in sports. When you get people together and they all just go to their phones, I said, you guys, you need to stay locked in as a team. But players and people that love and connect with each other, they show up better, they play better, they have more enjoyment. And anytime chemistry's off, I'll tell people all the time, go share a meal together. Literally the whole team. And in the pros, they'll go, Dar, we did that in college. I go, and it worked. Why would you stop it?
Yeah. Well, I think we all do that in business and anything. You find things that work, and then you think they're remedial because you've outgrown them. But you
Yes.
haven't outgrown them. Those are the very things that make your culture the culture. And
Yeah.
there's also that you also have a role. Everybody has a role on a team. And you or we're the energy people. We're the
Yeah.
ones that are we notice what's going on around us.
Yep.
We're paying attention to who's loving it, who's hating it, who's not buying into what you're saying. Like, you can feel all that. And then you're trying to pull everybody together, and just trying with the person that's not buying in makes them feel important. And
Yes.
you're building a culture that's built on something bigger than just winning, because winning is the transaction, right? And
Oh, yes.
that's not good enough. You are going to win if you build the culture correct, and you have the talent. You got to have the talent.
And by the way, you're not going to win every game. You're not going to win every day. So whether this is business or sports, more often than not, you're having challenges. And so when you win, it makes it that much better. And so if you're only feeling good, winning feels good. But I mean, if you can't find joy in the journey, it's going to be a long damn journey, because not everyone wins the Super Bowl. Not everyone wins the cup. More often than not, you're just working on this journey to get there. And so it's loving the process, it's loving the people that you're climbing the mountain with. And then what happens from there, usually something great happens when you put these all in place. But even if it doesn't, you're so grateful that you've climbed with these people.
If you like clips like this, I have a similar clip here. And if you want to watch the full video, click here.